where are we? What's the latest on the search? And then we'll get into it.
Yeah, so we communicated with the U.S. Marshal Service this morning. They're continuing their efforts. They're networking with Kittitas County Sheriff's Office, thanks to Sheriff Myers for putting his units on the ground, searching the Teanaway up Liberty. We had our search and rescue team also back up in the Enchantments, which is our Alpine Lakes area, checking that area. I know they went up to Presic Peak and checked a couple spots of interest up there. And then we were doing our debriefs with Chief Moody and our detectives and investigative unit, just making sure that we have the case in place and ready to go in front of the prosecutors and the courts when we have Mr. Decker in custody.
What evidence or what makes you guys think that he's somewhere in the Teanaway Valley?
Some information that had popped up was just that they were seeing signs of potentially somebody in that area. They're not sure it is Mr. Decker. So of course they just want to make sure they're following up. Sheriff Myers of course had the similar search here about 2 to 3 years ago. We've had conversations offline just about what his agency learned during that time. We know there's connections between our county and their county, especially with some of the pathways that are accessible. So we just want to make sure we're covering our bases, doing searches where we can, and making sure we're checking boxes for regions that have been at least looked at closely.
Are you seeing anything like footprints, gear, sightings, or is this just kind of like based on the terrain, survival logic, and the trails that exist?
Yeah, so of course we're getting several reports of potential sightings. We're trying to follow up on that as best as possible, and that's not just regionally here. I mean, I've got one just recently over at Fort Lewis, or Joint Base Lewis McChord. Sorry, I'm from that area, still refer to it as Fort Lewis. And we've also gotten some from Texas and Idaho, and some in Calgary, and some up in Canada. I think we've got one as far away as over in, I think we got some information back from England as well. So I mean, we're of course doing our best to track down, seeing what's reasonable, and making sure that at least we're making an effort to determine, is this valid, is it not? We have had sightings of equipment that's being found. Yesterday up at, I believe, Stewart Lake Trailhead, there was a backpack, and the report initially came out that there was supplies within the backpack. We got there, of course, it just had a rock inside of it, but we're making sure to at least put resources out there, follow up on leads, and do what we can with potential sightings and any other equipment or supplies that may have been found, and see if there is any kind of correlation to our case.
So do you think that backpack was his?
No, I think that, the amount of hikers that we have go up in that area, at times equipment gets left behind, but we're going to go up there, we're going to check, see what we can find. And we know that we've had similar instances, like in our past case in Kittitas County, that individual was going through campsites, taking supplies, breaking into houses, breaking into stores. And so of course we're trying to follow up when individuals are calling and say, hey, I think there's some stuff that's been missing from my house. And we're trying to see, does that connect in with our case that we're following up on? So we're talking of a huge geographical area when you look at the west end of our county. Chelan County itself, 2,900 square miles plus, and you're just trying to focus on some of probably our most mountainous wooded terrain. So it gives us a lot of challenges, but thankfully we've had a lot of other agencies and volunteers that have been willing to put forth their time and effort. And we kind of talked a little bit offline about how much money has been spent by Spokane County Sheriff's Office, King County, Snohomish County, Kittitas County now getting involved, the U.S. Marshal Service, FBI, Washington State Patrol, thanks to Chief Batiste. We've just been very fortunate to have the partners we do, and been able to cover the amount of ground that we have, because we are a pretty capable agency, but when you're talking about taking on an operation this size, it certainly stretches our resources. So we're thankful for that.
Yeah, absolutely. You mentioned the break-ins. Are there any credible reports that there were break-ins that might have been Decker in the last few weeks?
No, but one call we just got was that we saw that chicken coop had eggs taken out of it. So of course they were wondering, like, hey, who would have come in and taken our eggs? So we want to follow up on that too, because we understand that could be a food source for somebody. And so we'll continue to put resources out there, track and see what we can find is valid and not valid.
How much more complicated does it make this case, knowing that Decker is, a skilled outdoorsman, former ranger, known to go off the grid for 2 to 3 months at a time and just survive in the wild?
It gives them a unique skill set, but I've pointed out several times that we have several members of our agency and our partnering agencies that have military members as well, that also have special forces experience, and I would say in many cases more experience and knowledge than Mr. Decker is reported to have. So we understand it's unique. Not a lot of people like to go outdoors, let alone be out there for months at a time, which it sounds like in talking with his family, he did enjoy doing that. So it does make it a little bit more challenging, but I feel like we have a lot of individuals within our agencies and the partnering agencies that are up for that challenge specifically. I mean, we contract with U.S. Forest Service. We have 2 deputies assigned out there that are Forest Service deputies and know this county better than any other individual I think that would come to visit.
You mentioned that you guys are still processing some of the evidence from the original crime scene where you found the girls. Did any of that evidence help point you to where he is potentially now? Is there anything about what you guys have processed recently that you can share?
Well, first off, majority of our processing is already complete. The day that we found the vehicle, and then of course, unfortunately, the scene that unraveled after that, Washington State Patrol came in with their crime lab team, processed the scene. We've been giving some of that evidence back, and then of course, we've been going through that as our detectives continue to do follow-ups. So we are getting a better understanding of who he is. We've worked with the FBI's behavioral analyst team, along with the U.S. Marshals behavioral analyst team and their psychologist, who's currently on scene with us here in Wenatchee, trying to get a better understanding of how he thinks, what stuff might be going on in his personal life that might have motivated some of this, and overall just like what his thought process might look like, what his end game might look like. And we've been thankful for the individuals who have reached out, who have known him personally and wanted to share information with us. And that included people who knew him even in a working capacity, personal capacity, or just in passing. So that has been beneficial to us.
Do you still believe he's alive? I mean, we're 3 weeks into this.
At this point, I mean, unless we find him deceased, I'm going to consider that he is alive, and that's the mentality that we've been trying to put out to our other team members and members within our own agency too, that he's still out there. We have not found him. He's not accounted for, and we need to keep pursuing him.
I wanted to ask you, last week there was that possible sighting at Colchuck where you said, it might have been him. You deployed aerial resources out there, and then the person who may or may not have been him scurried away and got away. What happened there? Was it just timing, the terrain? Again,
he had that opportunity where the timing was more in his favor. At the time, we had an Air National Guard air asset up in the Enchantments area. We did spot this individual who did not seem to match what we were seeing from the other hikers. A lot we were getting, the typical clothing and equipment that you would see, and then this individual off trail, not wearing the normal equipment that you would see for individuals up in there because there's still snow. We were just up there a couple days ago, and the route that he was headed towards was just not typical for what you would see through someone, even a through hiker in the Enchantments. So that piqued our interest, but fuel was running low, so we had to loop back around, get fuel, come back, but we were able to pick up the track, and just the route that he went back down into Ingalls Creek certainly caused us to think this isn't normal, and so we started tracking through that. And again, I couldn't say it was Mr. Decker, but certainly it was an individual that would not have taken the typical route that most would utilize when they're going through there.
I want to ask you, the Enchantments, that whole area is pretty much a dead zone. Does that also make this hard too if a hiker were to see him? They don't have cell service, so they can't call 911.
You do have areas that you still have cell service when you're up there, and it is frequented by quite a bit of people, because even a couple days ago when I was flying up there assisting with a search, we saw tents up there, we saw hikers, we saw some climbers up there, so there's still a decent amount of people, even though it's not its peak season, that people try to go there all year round. So we understand that it's still a very populated area, and will just continue to become more populated once the summer tourism starts to kick off.
Does that worry you at all, that there'll be more people, or do you think that that'll actually help find him?
I think more eyes out there, the better, but certainly we're not trying to encourage people to go out there and look for him, because we understand that could put them in potential danger. We still consider Mr. Decker to be a danger to our community and to our citizens. So we'd say proceed with caution, be aware that this search is ongoing until we find him, and that again, we're not going to restrict their access into that area at this time, just based off conversations we've had with the U.S. Forest Service and the rangers up there as well. But if we do find something that leads us to believe that he is up there, we may go back to restricting access in there again. When it comes to motives in the crime, I've said nothing's acceptable. We're not looking for that. We understand what happened, and that we're just trying to hold that individual accountable, which we believe is Mr. Decker, based off the evidence we have. When I'm talking about what motivates him or what motive is like what would keep him to keep pushing on further and keep trying to evade us. Why is he not trying to get to a certain location? That's what we're trying to figure out. Where is he motivated to head to? What's pushing him? And I think we want to make sure that we're just in line with what his will is, because we want to make sure our will, of course, is above his.
Like what his end game is.
What his end game is, and also what's pushing him to go. Because I would imagine at this point, I couldn't see a lot of things that would motivate him to want to live. His daughters are gone. He no longer has the life that he wanted to have. So we put that question out towards him. I've made it very clear I don't want anything bad to happen to him. We certainly hope that we can find him, take him into custody without incident, and then put him in our court system. But at this point, if he's continuing to push and try to evade us, I'm not sure why. I can tell him that I don't think anyone likes him. I don't think anyone wants him to come back into society, and that's not trying to be harsh to him. But the actions that we're seeing, I just don't see how he's going to be accepted by his family, by society, or those that he would consider his brothers and sisters that he served with in the military. So I certainly feel like he's done a disservice to himself and has just done an evil act. And I would want him to step forward and take accountability for it and step in front of our judges and explain your side if there's something else that we need to know.
Absolutely. As far as Whitney goes, is she in protective custody right now? Were there any threats ever made against her with all of this unfolding?
Yeah, so we've remained in close contact thanks to Wenatchee Police Department. Sergeant Reinfeld's had Captain Chance and Captain Miller stay in contact with the family and just making sure that we're keeping them updated on the case. She is at a location that we know about, and we just really appreciated her and the family's assistance as we've continued to investigate the matter.
Has your office come into contact with Decker before with any, past domestic issues or anything like that, or is this when this tragedy unfolded? Was this the first time he'd come across the radar?
Not that we're seeing personally through the Chelan County Sheriff's Office. There may have been some contacts through Wenatchee PD, but I'm not aware of any kind of criminal history with him. I know that I've heard some of our deputies were aware of him working out at a local gym, but overall, like close contacts with any of us, not that we're aware of.
How do you keep that all straight and continue to coordinate this effort to make sure that you bring Decker to justice?
Well, it's not unique to Chelan County. I mean, last summer we just talked about the fire up there in Stehekin, and that was burning for several months, and that's working with several other federal agencies, National Park Service. You start getting into DNR. So we have worked larger operations like this before. This is just a little bit different, more on the law enforcement side. This has been the largest law enforcement effort and operation that I think this county's ever seen. And thankfully, it's just utilizing those already established relationships that we have in place with Douglas County, Okanagan County, Spokane County, Snohomish County, King County, Washington State Patrol. I try to give them as much credit as possible. National Park Service, FBI, U.S. Marshal Service, Kittitas County. We've already worked with them in some capacity in some form in the past, so it's just simply picking up the phone, being able to give a call to those individuals that you've already established that relationship with. And as you see more in this law enforcement community, when you need assistance and help, they'll come and they usually assist, and we're grateful for that. Again, we couldn't take it on by ourselves. We're a medium-sized agency. We recognize we're well trained and we have decent equipment, but when you start taking on an operation this size, you need your friends, and they've stepped up and helped us.
How sustainable is this ongoing effort? Again, we're in week 3. 3 weeks is Friday that he's been gone, and again, it's all hands on deck still, and I think everyone in this region wants to find Decker.
Absolutely. So we've adjusted our tactics. I mean, clearly the situation has changed. Our investigations evolved a little bit, and we knew that there was a period of time that we were really going to have to deploy resources hard in an effort to try to gain the upper hand and gain control of the area that we're searching for. We wanted to get containment, but again, I mean, our agency was coming in, I think, around 3 days after the fact from what we're getting off the information. So it certainly already put us a little bit behind, and we just continued to do what we could to cover as much ground as possible, follow up on leads as quickly as possible. But now we're starting to transition into looking more towards the long game. That's why we've asked the U.S. Marshal Service to continue to come alongside us and take over the search portion as we turn our focus back over to the investigation. And we've told them our resources are still available. I was just up flying with our helicopter doing searches in a couple other valleys here a couple days ago because we know we're still very much involved with the search, but we know that the experts in this field are the U.S. Marshal Service. They've taken on this kind of challenge before, and we've reached out to other agencies who have done searches. Kittitas County and Sheriff Myers, we've had conversations offline just saying, what did you learn during your search? What can we learn from that? And then how do we best partner up together to ensure that our resources are being used as best as possible to take the challenge on. And we'll continue to assess it and see. I mean, we had our conversations this morning about what our efforts are going to look like this week. We know the National Guard is going to continue to stay on scene and fly for us at least till the end of the week, and then we'll start to assess what other air resources are coming in. But when you look at it, I mean, we've talked about even Spokane PD coming over with their drone unit. They did an excellent job. We had our drones up in the air too. But you got to start looking back towards the jurisdictions that you serve, and eventually you got to justify why you're putting the amount of resources you are into another jurisdiction. Grateful. I know I'm talking with King County and Snohomish County. I think they were looking at about over $1 million that that they had put up assisting us. Spokane, I think, was right along that line too. And we're grateful for the citizens of all those jurisdictions that have been willing to come over and assist us during this tragedy. I know that we've done it before, like with OSO coming over to assist and going over and helping Chelan County when they're doing their search. Again, this is why we come together. But we do have to be reasonable and respectful towards those limited resources of finances and equipment and personnel too. So now that we recognize that we're transitioning over to a different stage of the search, we're trying to look, what does this look like moving forward? Talking with one of the former FBI agents who searched for Eric Rudolph during the search of, I guess you'd say, Northwest North Carolina during '96 when they had the Olympic bombing. I mean, that search took almost 5 years. So we recognize we're not going to be able to spend the amount of money that we're spending for a long period of time. So how do we continue to do what we're expected to do within reason?
Your office yesterday let the media know that there was a fake video going around on TikTok saying that you guys had caught Decker. How does false information like that impact this investigation? And I know that you guys said, this isn't true.
Yeah.
But how did that impact this?
We understand it's one of the current challenges with law enforcement, especially as AI comes more online and that we have more social media influencers out there trying to garner more attention towards their web pages or their projects. So we do appreciate some members of the media who brought it to our attention. We appreciate those relationships. We also appreciate the community bringing this stuff to our attention because we can't be everywhere at once, not only on the ground, but also out in the social media sphere. So when they bring this to our attention, we can at least put a message out there and say this is not accurate information, and then we can try to get ahead of it because we understand that can cause some chaos within the community, and our relationship and open lines of communication with them are important. So we say thanks to the media, public who help bring these things to our attention, and we don't mind telling you, yes, this is accurate, or no, this is not accurate.
A week ago at the press conference, you had a direct message for Travis Decker. What's your direct message now, almost a week later?
Still the same. You still got to be perfect every single day, Travis. I was like, I just need to have one perfect day, and for you to make a mistake, for things to go our way. So that's a heavy burden for him to bear. I mean, it's impossible to be perfect every single day. So eventually, he's going to get tired. He's going to make a mistake. He's going to leave something behind. He's going to make an error. And I can tell you that every single person wearing a uniform in this state is going to be there waiting for him to make that mistake. So it's not just our agency. He's got to overcome Washington State Patrol. He's got to overcome Douglas County Sheriff's Office, East Wenatchee, the Chelan County Sheriff's Office, King County, Snohomish County. I can't imagine any individual in this great country that is wearing this uniform is going to pass up the opportunity to take him into custody. I know citizens are out there also looking for him, so he's got a bigger problem than just our agency. He's got a nationwide problem.
If this goes on much longer, I mean, how does that shift things again? Does it make it even trickier to find him? Do you think that he would have moved kind of out of where you guys think he is right now?
Well, I'd remind with the Eric Rudolph search, it just happened to be that a very watchful patrol deputy saw someone going through a dumpster. When they contacted an individual, there was what the whole entire nation had been looking for 5 years. So we recognized with Chelan County's case, it took 21 days to locate him. We had a similar incident several years ago in King County with an individual who built a bunker outside of North Bend. So this isn't the first time. We just saw the devil of the Ozarks also get located after a brief amount of time that he was out there running around. So we'll get our time. We'll eventually get to find him. It may be in a week, it may be in a couple years, but we're not going to go away. We know the Marshal Service is in it for the long haul, the FBI is in it for the long haul, and any member of this agency who's going to be wearing this uniform, whether it be in the next couple of weeks or in the next 20 years, is still going to have him on their radar. So we're not going to go away. We don't time out. His charges aren't going to time out. So if he wants to live the rest of his life looking over his shoulder, we'll be there.